Season's greetings. My name is Mike, and I've been living with stage 4 metastatic melanoma for nearly 7 years. And I've been to a lot of holiday gatherings during that time span, and let me tell you from experience, nothing brings cheer to your friends, family, and loved ones quite like a cancer diagnosis. Clearly, I'm just kidding. In fact, it can be awkward and shitty if you and your people don't know how to adjust to the new normal of living with a cancer diagnosis, but that's why I'm making this video in the first place. I'm going to tell you 5 ways you can make the holidays less stressful as a cancer patient, and ugh, that sounds like a fucking Pinterest listicle title. I don't want to do that. I want to give you pragmatic advice so that you and your friends and family and loved ones don't stress during this time, because it is achievable. It just takes a little bit of practice and thought. I remember during the first year I was diagnosed, it was 2018, I was diagnosed in February, and I live a few hundred miles from my parents and my immediate family in San Diego, and usually I see them several times a year, but due to my diagnosis and surgery and getting treatment started and kind of the mental health stress that I was going through, I had not seen them since my diagnosis when I went down for Thanksgiving. On top of that, I brought my then girlfriend, and that was the first time she was meeting anyone in my family. And my immediate and extended family are super close. We do Thanksgiving at my parents' house. It's a great time. It's probably my favorite holiday. But I remember we got there and it was just quiet. It was awkward. No one knew what to do. No one knew how to broach the subject to me or my girlfriend or my parents or my brother. You know, you get the point. And I want to say that things got better by the end of that Thanksgiving meal, but looking back, I don't even think that was the case. During my first year of diagnosis, I think I held a lot of my emotions in during that first period between February and Thanksgiving, and then I learned that by doing so, I wasn't prepared to talk with the people who mattered most to me about my cancer diagnosis. Not only that, but my birthday is December 24th, so every year, about a month after Thanksgiving, we all get back together in San Diego again. And during that time, I remember this really distinctly in 2018, I thought to myself, I have to find a way to make this easier. I have to find a way to make this better. Not only for myself physically in the routines I was in during treatment, but mentally and emotionally and just kind of like holistically for myself and my family, because that's what the holidays are kind of all about. It's about getting together and celebrating each other and supporting each other how we can. And while one of us was an idiot and got a life-threatening disease, the rest of us and myself, we don't have to suffer as a result of it, at least not more than I already have to. Anyway, that's enough about me and my backstory. Let's talk about you and your people in the holidays and how to make them less stressful while you're dealing with cancer. And realistically, this doesn't just have to apply to the holidays and travel like that. This can go for any gathering and any time in which you need to do a little bit of prep and establish some boundaries to make your life easier. An important distinction to make, not only about these holiday tips, but also your diagnosis and treatment in general, is that being a cancer patient is kind of like your primary job at this point. That means your labs and your scans and your treatment and the pills that you take on a daily basis or anything that you have to do to give yourself the best outcome needs to be prioritized. And that's actually a great segue into the first way you can make life easier for a cancer patient during the holidays, and that is to plan around your diagnosis, your treatment, and anything procedural that you need to take care of during that time. So when you're approaching the holidays, make sure that if you're hosting or if you have travel demands, that the things I mentioned, your labs and your scans and your infusions, if you have to do them, are planned appropriately. I know that I've had times where I've had to do labs the day when I've driven down to San Diego, which is like a 7-hour drive, and giving up a bunch of your blood and then driving and getting stuck in traffic and feeling nauseous and fatigued, don't recommend it. So plan ahead for this holiday season. And part of planning ahead for the holidays is understanding that these gatherings don't usually just involve yourself. So the second way that you can make life easier for a cancer patient during the holidays is to communicate your needs. Some of this is just good old-fashioned boundary setting if we're going to bring therapy speak into the fold, but I know that everyone handles a cancer diagnosis differently, and it can be a very sensitive topic, especially around a lot of people that you don't see all the time. I'm a talker. I like to go on, and I will overshare about my cancer diagnosis. So a boundary that I have to set is letting people off the hook when it's getting super awkward or sad or they don't know what to do. I've had to tell my family members and my friends, hey, you can look me in the face and say, stop talking about cancer. It's fine. I don't get offended by that. Similarly, if you don't want to share, you need to be the person who tells your friends and family, listen, I don't really want to talk about that this year. Let's just focus on having a good time. Same goes for communicating your physical needs as much in advance as possible. I mean, cancer treatment makes you feel sick. It's not exactly predictable, but letting people know like, hey, my bandwidth is going to wane if I stay up for too long, or I might get nauseous and I might need to lay down. It's better than Irish goodbying during Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. Along those same lines, if there's like an over-the-counter medication that you might need available, or if you need to know which bathroom is most appropriate to blow up, or if you think someone needs to cook differently to address your new dietary needs, let them know. Be considerate. As much advance warning as possible is going to help everybody. Third way to stress less as a cancer patient this year during the holidays is to stay healthy and stick to your plan. I'm going to say it again for emphasis. Being a cancer patient is probably the most important job you're ever going to have, and I implore that you take it seriously. But that doesn't mean that we're not human. That doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes. That doesn't mean there's not room for pushing our boundaries and kind of testing the limitations of the plan that we set out. Especially during the holidays. I mean, there's a lot of good food around. People are going to be drinking. People are going to be staying up late and socializing. But you need to know when to say, hey, enough is enough. I know that when I'm in treatment, I modulate almost down to no alcohol. My friends and my family, we like to drink some beers. So if I go back, I need to be willing to say, guys, I'm not going to drink today, or I'm not going to have more than one beer, or I'm going to not eat all this delicious holiday food. And if you do go over your limits, rest more the next day. Make sure you're still exercising. Make sure you're still hydrating. Make sure that, you're not stressing if and when you can. I know that's not always possible. Like I said, there's so many variables in cancer that just pop up, but preparing for whatever might be thrown at you is the best way to stress less. And wouldn't you know it, that takes me to the fourth way in which you can stress less during the holidays as a cancer patient, and that is to understand where your support comes from. And what I mean by this is there are going to be people or places or things or activities that make it easier for you to de-stress. I know that in my family, there are people that are better equipped to have serious conversations about cancer or to make jokes about cancer. And then there are some people who will say some straight up insensitive shit. I try not to let it bother me too much. Most people are well-intended, even if they say things about cancer that are a little ridiculous, like suggesting some holistic medicines that I don't personally want to take, or telling me that maybe I could have prevented it by doing what? Having a time machine? But the point is, just like all these other action items, you need to strategically plan out who or what you can lean on to get you through the stress in the air that comes along with the frost and the cheer. Maybe when you get a little bit too stressed out by people, go shoot some hoops like I do, or go on a cousin walk, or go watch a movie, or take a nap. You get it, but what I'm saying is don't be too much of a people pleaser when you're a cancer patient, because now's not the time. That takes me seamlessly to item number 5 on the list of ways you can stress less as a cancer patient during the holidays. It's like I wrote this because I did write this. I wrote a blog for Manta Cares. I'll post it in the description below. They are a great partner of mine, and they provide advocacy and support to all sorts of cancer patients. Go check them out. Go check my blog out so you don't have to remember all this stuff and write it down. So the fifth and final way not to stress during these holidays as a cancer patient, really you can apply this to any time as a cancer patient, is that making changes and opting out of plans is okay. I said it a moment ago, but being a cancer patient means that you can't always be a people pleaser. Sometimes you have to be selfish. I know that we want to make our loved ones feel better. We want to honor tradition. We've always done it this way, is a thing, but you haven't always had cancer. This is your new normal. Things change. It feels like I've always had cancer. I've had cancer for almost 7 years running, but I've made it clear to certain people that I need to prioritize my health. I don't want to feel miserable for no reason other than to honor certain traditions and to push through when I don't have to. Cancer doesn't just affect us physically, it also affects us emotionally and mentally and financially and structurally and a whole bunch of ullies that I'm not thinking of right now. But the point is, your terms matter, and it's kind of on you to enforce them boundaries, so make sure they're known. Make sure you're taking care of yourself this holiday season. Alright, so I'm going to aptly put a bow on this list of 5 ways to lessen your stress during the holidays as a cancer patient. Just like life and cancer treatment and everything else, these are subject to change, and you probably have to make some tweaks to fit your personal situation. Ultimately, I'm still talking about being a cancer patient and doing cancer treatment and the stress that adds during the holidays, which is already pretty stressful for a lot of people. I wish this video was called the 5 best ways to spend your millions after winning the lottery, but the reality is that I had to reschedule a PET scan surrounding my birthday and the holidays while making this video. It's just an indication of what is to come. The holidays have come early for me. Regardless, I'm stoked that you're still here watching, and I would ask that if you have someone who's going through cancer, or if you're going through cancer treatment and you want your loved ones to get a better understanding of what is easier for people, share this video with them. Talk about some of these points. I think that broadening the conversation in realistic human terms is the best way to lower your stress and their stress and my stress, and hopefully every cancer patient's stress, not only during the holidays, but long-term in general. I think we need to talk about this stuff more, and you're helping me do it. So thank you again for that, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Happy holidays, y'all. Bye.